Hi there, I'm your host Corinne, and this is Okay But Are You Good? Where we check in on ourselves on a weekly basis to see how we're doing. Are we living our best lives or are we just trying to get by? I cannot believe it's November, you guys, but let's get into it. Today's episode is one that hits a little deeper because it's something we've all struggled with: closure. You know that feeling when something ends but your brain just won't let it go? You replay conversations, analyze texts, and think, if I could just understand why, maybe I could move on. We all want closure. We want answers, explanations, a clean ending. But sometimes closure doesn't come. People disappear. Situations shift. Words are left unsaid. And in those moments, we're left asking ourselves, how do I move on without the apology, the conversation, or the understanding I never got? And that's what I want to talk about today. How to find peace even when you don't get closure. We crave closure because we want to make sense of what hurt us. We want and love when things to feel fair, balanced, and complete. When something ends without an explanation, it feels unfinished. Like there's a piece of the story that's missing. And this can end up messing with your peace. You start overanalyzing every detail, especially someone like me that has anxiety. You tend to overthink every little aspect. You're replaying what was said, what you did, and what you could have or should have done differently. You think to yourself, if I could just talk to them one more time, maybe I'd feel okay. But the truth is, closure isn't something someone gives you. It's something you choose. When you don't get closure, you're forced to sit with that unknown. And as uncomfortable as that sounds, it's actually one of the most powerful lessons you can learn. Lack of closure teaches you acceptance, learning to live with unanswered questions. It teaches you self-trust, realizing you can move forward even when things don't make sense yet. And it teaches you detachment, understanding that sometimes people leave not because of you, but because of where they are in their own story. Because closure doesn't always mean clarity. Sometimes it just means peace without explanation. And a quick little story where I didn't get closure was I had this friend in school. We did everything together. We got along. We'd hang out all the time. I introduced her to someone else, and we would all hang out, go on trips together, do things. And then there was just a shift, and I didn't hear from her anymore. Her and the person I introduced her to started hanging out without me, which in theory, I'm happy that they became friends and had a close bond, but there was no fight. There was no argument. It just shifted. And one of the last trips we went on together, she wasn't coming to the event that day, which was fine. Like, I was going to meet up with my other friends. She admitted to talking about me in a group text, and it was like commenting on my outfit. And it was kind of a form of like jealousy or insecurity, because why else would you talk about my outfit? And it wasn't like, oh my God, she looks so cute. It's like, this is what she's wearing, blah, blah, blah. Like, and that was one of the last times we hung out. And to me, I guess we just grew apart. Things changed. And I think it really did have to do with jealousy. I am a pretty outgoing person, and they were too. But that's on you. That's not on me. And it sucked because I was treated differently, even though like I was never told I did anything wrong. We never had a conversation. I just had to let it go and like try to not talk to them as much because I couldn't really avoid them. But I look back and I like don't think I could have done anything differently. I must have just been part of that chapter to bring her and my other friend together, and like they still hang out, and I love that they have this friendship, and I'm the one that really like ignited that fire. So I'm glad they have each other. And sometimes people are just a chapter in your lives and it's not on you. And like, I really would have liked to have a conversation about like what shifted, like if it was me, but I think it just, friendships change, and like, you don't need people in your life forever. It might just be a short amount of time, and that's okay. So if closure doesn't come from other people, then how do we create it for ourselves? One way is to write yourself a letter, get it all out, throw it away, shred it up, and release it. There's also a really cool lantern festival in Vegas or the surrounding area that you write whatever you want to let go on the lantern and then you let it go. I've done that before and it was really special. So something to think about. If not, if you don't want to do all that, just get a pen and paper and write it all out and let go. Next would be to have a conversation out loud. Say what you need to say, even if it's just to yourself. It gives you that opportunity to get these thoughts and emotions out without leaving them all bottled up inside so you don't explode later on. Next would be to stop replaying their why and focus on your what now. Because instead of waiting for answers, you need to ask yourself, what do I need to do to feel like myself again? Lastly, it's accepting what you already know. Sometimes you already have closure and you just don't even realize it, and you're just hoping for a different version of it. And you just have to accept that things have changed and you gotta let it go. Because closure isn't about getting answers, it's about accepting that you may never get them and still choosing peace anyways. So here's something we don't talk about enough. Sometimes closure isn't missing, it's being ignored. You already know why something ended, you just might not like the reason it ended. We hold on to the story because it gives us a connection, even if that connection hurts. But every time we replay it, you reopen a wound that's trying to heal. At some point, we have to stop looking backwards and start living forward. Trust me, I'm always looking to the past and I need to be more present and looking to the future because we don't have time machines yet, right? So we can only go forward and we can only keep trying our best day by day. You can't change the past, unfortunately, but you can change your future. So maybe think to yourself, what are these moments that you keep replaying in your mind? You keep thinking, if you did this or that, it will get better. No, you have to move on, babes. And someone that overthinks and has anxiety, it's very hard to not do this, but distracting yourself and accepting that you need to just give yourself that closure, it will help and heal over time. It will get easier because you don't need someone else to end the chapter for you. You can close the book yourself. And moving on without closure doesn't mean you're over it instantly. Trust me, there's stuff that I've let go and closed and I'm like, I still get annoyed about sometimes, but you gotta move on. There's no changing it. And this closure just means that you've stopped letting the past control your peace. It means you've accepted that sometimes people leave without explanation, things end without fairness, and you may never get the closure you needed and deserved, but you're still gonna be okay. Because closure isn't an ending, it's a beginning that starts when you decide to stop waiting for someone else to set you free. Trust me, when I accepted that my friendship with this person was over or it shifted, I realized maybe it worked out for the best, that I did not need them and that they were just gonna be a dark energy in my life that I didn't need anymore. I didn't need to try and impress them and be on the same level with them with everything, whether it's other relationships, school, activities. I ended up being happier not having them in my life, but I didn't realize that until they weren't in it anymore. And I'll never get the closure of what had shifted. It just ended. And we're both living our best lives. So if you've been holding on, waiting for that text, that apology, or that final conversation, this is your reminder that you don't need it to move forward. You can give yourself the closure you've been waiting for. You can forgive without an apology. You can choose peace even when you don't have every answer. Because sometimes peace isn't found in knowing, it's found in letting go. So make sure this week you check in with yourself and ask, okay, but are you good? Thank you so much for listening in. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next week. Okay, bye, Forest.